Life's too short to drive boring cars. So I bet you've been wondering, you probably shop in the car lots and you see BMW is always coming out with something exciting and new. They're often the leaders in innovation. Some of their engines put out the highest power in their class, and BMW always has some sort of new technology that dazzles all of its peers. So the other question is you've probably got is, do I buy a new BMW or should I buy a used one as they're more value? I'm going to get into the whole conversation, show you a few new models, and then summarize for you the only real BMW that you can afford. Let's get into it now. So first, let's walk through a few of the models in the lineup and then explain some specialties that they bring to the table. Here we have a new 2 Series BMW. This is more or less the smallest model in their lineup, and it's a handsome little car, as you can see. Like all BMWs, they have great alloy wheels, wonderful LED tail lights. You've got sunroof there to allow the light in for a lot of illumination. Right there, this one's a 235. That means it's the high-strung version. And we've got LED tail lights. And this one's X-Drive. So that means it's all-wheel drive, good for cutting through ice and snow like this. And we'll see we have this great little wing on the back. And a massive sunroof on top. What about those great-looking little mirrors? And the M calipers on the front. How about the front? We also notice it has a wonderful new front spoiler and splitter on there. Finished off nicely by these updated new headlights and this more interesting grille, which is more of the design you're seeing in modern day BMWs. But as you notice, this is 235, but the older versions of BMW that used 35 designation usually meant it had a turbo 6-cylinder engine. This one does not. This new 2 Series car actually has a turbo 4-cylinder engine, cranking out a huge amount of power. What about the interior? Beautiful, well-bolstered seats, very well-wearing leather interior, and you've got a great ZF automatic transmission. But did you know this is one of the few BMWs now that is based more on the front-wheel drive platform, and then they go and add the rear-wheel drive on the X-Drive version versus typical BMWs are default to rear-wheel drive. This one's not the same. But as shown already, it's a 235. You'll notice the exhaust treatment on this 235 version here is quite different than you'll see on the 228, which you'll notice has 2 little round tips versus the larger squared type tips here. They both do have some nice vents and a wonderful little rear diffuser on the bottom here. And then next we step up to a 3 Series, which are great cars from a performance standpoint. You can either get the B48, which is a 4-cylinder turbo, makes 255 horse, or you get the 340 right here, which has the wonderful B58 engine, which is a turbo inline 6, twin scroll I might add. And they make a lot of power. These truly are some of the best, most reliable engines in the BMW lineup today. Let's take a quick look around at 2021 3 Series right here. Beautiful little M logos on there, wonderful mirrors, almost like the 2 Series. How about the keyless? And as well there, you've got some great little handles. And around the back, you'll notice it has this great little spoiler on the trunk lid, great LED tail lights. And it's the 340, that means it's got this 6-cylinder turbo engine. And this one's also X-Drive. But the default on this is rear-wheel drive, and then the front wheels pick up as needed. Here we've got the great tailpipes, 1 and 2, and you'll notice some great vents on the rear taillight as well. How about those great wheels right there? And you get a sunroof, because most BMWs generally do. And then around the front, you've got these wonderful little headlights. But you'll notice this. You'll notice the crosshatch tells you that's the 6-cylinder version. And some great little vents on the front as well. The interior is absolutely gorgeous with well-bolstered seats in here as well. ZF 8-speed automatic transmission and paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well when you feel like getting frisky. Now the 3 Series cars have always been the benchmark. Every manufacturer tries to show up to the table with a car that performs in line with what BMW's doing in the 3 Series chassis. Seldom do they ever beat it. They often imitate it but never duplicate it. Here we have the 3 Series. Great car from a performance standpoint. Then the next car is, right there we have a 4 Series. Brand new. You'll notice the oversized front grille. There's the big butterfly yapper, or essentially bucktooth, or beaver mouth right there, as many would call it. Insane. It's been a very controversial finishing on this car in the last couple years since it's come out, and it's either a love or hate it. It's a very polarizing design. However, you got great grills there and literally the best LEDs that BMW has to offer. Great wheels on there, wonderful high gloss calipers, and how about the wonderful new mirrors on there? This one happens to be a convertible, so it's great for summertime motoring. And because it's a 4 Series, it's a coupe now. So in other words, we've just got the 2 doors, but it's largely based on the 4-door version, the 3 Series. The 4 Series actually is the coupe. Drivetrains are generally the same. Beautiful rear taillights on this model. This one's xDrive as well. Also has a great third brake light on there. And you'll notice it has a wonderful new diffuser on the back. How about the tailpipes? 1 and 2 chrome tailpipes. But this one's the 430, in other words, the B48 engine. This has the turbo 4-cylinder engine, making just over 250 horsepower. Now they do stand out. It's a beautiful car. And the interiors have been revised even further from the previous generation. Absolutely gorgeous fit and finish on these new cars. A lot of new great technology, including digital display on your dashboard and the latest iDrive system. Now the unfortunate part, the latest 3 and 4 Series cars no longer come with a manual transmission. So BMW is veering off from where they used to come and being the ultimate driving machine. They're now in favor of more catering to the masses, not tooling up. For those specialty drivers, the people that really enjoyed rowing their gears, you can no longer get a manual gearbox in the 3 or 4 Series cars. Then the next model in the lineup, we'd be talking about a 5 Series. Here we have 540i. That means it's got the B58 engine. Yes, the Turbo 6 that's tucked under the hood there. Great rear tail lights on there. This one's xDrive as well, so it's great in the snow. You've got 1 and 2 exhaust tips on the back. And the sides are contoured nicely, but a little more conservative than what you're going to typically find in a lot of the 3 and 4 Series cars. Leads on up to the BMW Laser LED headlights. In other words, they shine as much as 2 and 3 times as far as your conventional headlights. There was a recall on those, by the way, as well, that there was too much blue phosphorus shining into oncoming traffic, and the recall was to take care of that. Here we have the great new grille. You'll notice it does open up as needed, and you have a very wonderful front chin on there. Looks strong and sporty, but you can't miss this little vent here as a giveaway for the 5 Series cars, and a great keyless entrance as well. Interior looks very much like the 3 Series, just everything is up by 110% in overall size and capacity. So this would be literally the best 5 Series BMW you can get. Doesn't have the most power, but it's likely the most reliable because you can step up to the 550 M version, and of course then you're dealing with the N63 engine, and there's been a sordid history with a lot of the twin turbo V8s in recent BMW history. The Turbo 6 is probably your best bet. You go to the Turbo 4, which is available in the 5 Series, and it's a little bit muted and a little dumbed down for most tastes. Then we'll talk about a few SUVs. We could talk about, how about this, the X2, which is largely based on the 2 Series cars, which we already showed you. The X2 right here has xDrive, and it's the 28i. So it's a turbo 4-cylinder engine, largely based on a front drive platform. But again, this is all-wheel drive because it's the xDrive. Can't mistake this awkward spot for a BMW logo. And they've got these great little creases along the side here. Great standardized mirrors you find in these on many of the models. And look at the headlights, great. There's your BMW LED, and look at those marks and accents on there. How about the great little front grille? And you'll notice it has a very sporting appearance from the front on. And the roofline is actually quite squashed. If you give it that overall look, you'll notice it chops very quickly at the back. And the top has this great sunroof, allows a lot of illumination for all the folks inside. And the interior is overloaded with this orange and black two-tone finishing. Definitely an interesting taste if you're buying this particular version. And then we step over to an X1. That's yet another model. Typical LEDs, and you'll notice the theme BMW. Not a lot different between the X1 and the X2 in terms of front finishing, other than the X1 actually looks slightly beefier. You'll notice the overall head height's a little higher here compared to the X2, which is intended to look a little sportier, and the X1 looks a little boxier, more utilitarian. Here we have great color matching moldings along the fender wells, and as well the rocker panels as well are greatly finished in a color match design just to give it a touch of class. LED taillights. This one's 28i xDrive, again all-wheel drive, and you'll notice you got 1 and 2 chrome tips. How about this wonderful piano gloss black running boards on top if you need to haul some junk to the dump? Keyless entry, and an interior that really feels an awful lot like every other BMW we've been through already. So you're probably thinking to yourself, boy, BMW has a lot of great models to choose from. Well, I'll show you one more. And this one's a newer version of what I own, and it's a BMW X5, like this. Right there, here's a new X5. Big, fat, chubby front grills on there. Oh, look at those blue, juicy headlights. And it's the laser, as I mentioned. Ultra sharp and long to blast down and blind all the oncoming traffic. And there we have wonderful wheels, great red calipers. And similar to the 5 Series cars, it has that front vent behind the front wheels. Great rocker designs, definitely protrudes. Gives it a touch of aggression. And you've got color-keyed fender flares. Circling around, you've got these wonderful dual chrome tips on there. But what do we have in there? It's actually fake as fake can be. You don't actually have these chrome tips. What you have is a little measly exhaust pipe right there. And this one's the xDrive 40i. That means it's a turbo 6-cylinder engine. And again, mentioned before, if you see the xDrive 50i, dodge that one. That's the twin turbo V8. Lots of problems with those engines in recent years. Beautiful taillights though in these vehicles. And a wonderful little overhang. And how about the luggage rack to haul that bed bug infested mattress to the dump? How about this? You've got great keyless entry again. And pretty standard mirrors that fold away. Right there you'll notice it has heads-up display. And the beauty is these cars have virtually every technology in the book. And that is where things get interesting. So you think all those reasons that I just showed you are compelling reasons to buy a brand new BMW? Sure they are. And on top of it, they perform better than many of their rivals from Mercedes and Audi and some of the other brands, even from the non-German manufacturers. So the real question is the new BMW the way to go? Well, let me summarize by saying I just went through a fiasco with my personal BMW X5. It's no longer under warranty. It has sustained some relatively what you consider minor failures, but now I find myself burdened and buried with a massive repair bill just to fix what seems like a relatively minor issue. So these cars are all beautiful, as we've mentioned before. And if you're gonna buy a used BMW, the only real way you should be buying anything used from the BMW brand is either A, it's got the extended warranty, or B, you're a hell of a do-it-yourselfer and you can wrench on these cars yourself, or of course you have massive shares in the BMW company. Because when these cars start to fail, and they do, they're gonna cost you an arm and 2.5 legs. Because let me tell you, when you just check your vehicle into the shop, they're gonna tell you, before they even look at your vehicle, we need to charge you $180 diagnostic. That's ludicrous. Did you realize, I know BMW's not the only one that does it. We took our Merc in the other day. It had a speaker that fell out inside the door panel. We dropped the vehicle off at the dealer, and their default that comes out of their mouth, it spews like vomit out of the mouth, automatically preparing us that we have to pay money for diagnostics of a body part that fell off because it just didn't hold up well enough to the roads. They're just defaulting diagnostic fee to everything and everyone, and they're charging anywhere from $180 to $250 minimum diagnostic. Doesn't matter what the problem is. It's almost at a point where you say I have a burnt out taillight. Oh, sorry, sir, we're gonna have to charge you $180 diagnostic. Make sure it's the taillight and it's not some other contributing factor. What is that? So yes, while BMW has some of the best designs, and truly they are some of the best cars to drive in their class. As well, if you want some of the latest technology, you'll probably find it in BMW world somewhere. The bottom line is, it's very compelling. Depreciation hits these cars very, very hard. And if you've been searching the market, you'll probably find a typical 5-year BMW loses as much as 55% of its original value on depreciation. And there's a reason for that, because nobody in their right mind would own a car like this from this brand after 5 years. They're gonna drive you in the poorhouse. And it's the very business model that BMW created that causes this massive depreciation. Why? Because everybody's onto them. Everybody's for the wiser. So it seems compelling for you to go out and buy a 6 or 7-year-old BMW because it's so affordable, but don't get caught in the trap. And really, to answer the question that I asked in the first place, should you buy a new BMW? I would say if you can afford a new BMW, particularly on a 2 or 3 year lease or short-term finance, and then you kick it to the curb, that's the only way most people can truly afford to own a BMW when they're new. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to click right there. That's the list of the best, most reliable luxury cars on the market today. Hope to see you real soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.